Amidst radioactive environment, in the eternal dark of the underground, at unattainable altitudes, Kazakhstan's vast lands attract researchers and explorers, and our filming crew are no exception. In 2013, archaeologists found a burial of a young girl. For magnificent jewelry found on her, they named her the Urdzhar princess. Based on its significance, this find is comparable to that of the Golden Man. Today we have a unique opportunity to join this scientific inquiry, and this is exactly the reason why we came to the southern capital of Kazakhstan. In previous issues, shattering the calm of the prince's centuries-old grave, Pavlodar scientists pulled out the whole multi-ton block of soil. This allowed them to maintain the integrity of the artifacts and, what is even more important, that of the tomb's mistress. Once in the lab, they first shaved off the slab to make it smaller and better suited for the forthcoming rare archaeological study. We managed to X-ray her and get good digital imagery and drawings. We did some tests too. Based on that, we got some valuable data. Under the X-rays, the block of soil became transparent, letting the archaeologists clearly see its insides. The artifacts materialized on the dark X-ray films. So where are we going? The next laboratory is the one. This is the place where the reconstruction of the Urdzhar princess is actually taking place. The X-rays gave us a clear idea of what was awaiting us. Knowing where exactly everything was and disturbing it as less as possible made all the cleaning and preserving so much easier. The thing is that in this case almost no organic matter remained, but the tests showed traces of red silk and red wool, which could mean a dress. There was metal too, and a wig made of grass, red hair. Accumulating this information step by step, we could finally start the process of reconstruction. The scientists took notice of another surprising fact. The tomb of the so-called princess had an additional chamber. As if together with the girl, somebody else was supposed to be buried there. We found an empty grave nearby, meaning there was no human inside, but there was a lot of sheep or ram bones scattered all over the grave floor. And so it might be that the grave was a ritual one, perhaps. Riddle this, riddle that. It's like being inside a detective story. What's going to be the next piece to the puzzle, and will we get an answer? There are still a lot of questions and unresolved issues. For example, in all materials and in her bones as well, we detected high zirconium content. We still don't know why. The thing is that this material, this chemical element, is not water-soluble, so she couldn't get it with water or from soil. We found its traces neither in the soil around the tomb nor in the sarcophagus. So where did it come from and why? There's too much of it, and we are still puzzled. Paradoxically, but the more we learn, the more questions arise. Who was our princess-elect? The restoration technicians and artists have completed some of the elements of her funeral clothing, which say a lot to professionals. Some of the similarities between the princess's dress and the modern women's clothing are obvious even to archaeology neophytes. Most likely she was a bride. This is what I think. For sure it was a woman. She was wearing a headdress resembling the ones we can see on women today. I mean the saukele. It was a noble woman because such a headpiece points to her high social status. She was a big shot, no doubt.
Мы сейчас сделали предварительные реконструкции.
We have completed the preliminary reconstruction, and this is what she looks like. She had a wig on her head. The foundation of the wig had very interesting and extremely beautiful ornaments and decorations. In the frontal part, we found the image of the firebird, or samruk in Kazakh. This is the first time that we see something like this. And here, as was with the Golden Man, the two wooden sticks decorated with golden threads and plates. We were able to identify the knobs or the tops of the sticks. They have the images of the saiga. Here's one, here's the other one. Both of them have some hanging decorations as well. All this together makes up the crown.
пластинками.
Interestingly enough, there have been descriptions of similar headdresses in the literature. In his library, Krim Kasinkanovich has a paper talking about almost identical apparel. It says that the women of Pazari culture wore such garments on their shaved heads. One of the curious citations goes as follows. The analysis of the graves of 3 women in high felt headpieces allowed the researchers to assume those women were priestesses, and the impressive head garments are indicative of their high social standing.
С ней не было никаких оружий.
There were no weapons around her. We found some dishes and containers, for example, one wooden and one ceramic vessel buried together with her.
Рядом была.
We also found a stone altar nearby.
Но это обычно же вот это шаманы его используют.
The shamans usually use them for conducting various rituals with burning candles and herbs.
Там какие-нибудь траву.
It is obvious that superstitions played a special role at that time. Sacrifices, ceremonies and rituals were an integral part of people's lives. One of the interesting things about the princess in this respect was the branch of fern that they put into her hand before burial.
Мы увидели остатки.
On her body, we saw remains and traces of fern roots, and it was obvious that they were there not by accident. We analyzed the spores and the pollen that we found inside the tomb and now can say what plants grew at that time in that area.
Понять, какие растения произрастали.
Ancient people thought that fern protected them from evil spirits and spells. The same plant also symbolized beauty and youth, which might have been the case with a young woman currently under investigation by Kazakhstan archeologists. So far, it is impossible to say anything about her physical appearance, as the final results of anthropological research are not yet ready. The hope is that they and the conclusions of foreign genetic scientists will be available to our archaeologists and restorers late this year. Presently, the efforts on museumification of the Urdzhar burial are underway.
Вот мы взяли. Теперь здесь.
Here we have ram and horse bones. Here are some wooden plates. This is the spot where a broken ceramic vessel was standing. Do you see the square shape under it? It is also something made of wood and then coals, which means that they burned something there. It was some kind of ritual. That's why we preserved it for further investigation.
Квадратный вот этот из дерева.
According to Krim Altenbekov, they leave certain original artifacts undisturbed for future generations of scientists to have the opportunity to study the history of our homeland. What if technologies of the future allow learning even more about the tomb of the Urdzhar princess? When the time comes, the researchers of tomorrow will only have to lift the lid and dig into the mystery.
Поэтому мы все.
What we do is we leave it all as is, just prepare it for preservation. We will put a glass dome over it, so it will be possible to exhibit it in the museum.
Итак, кем же все-таки?
So who was our mysterious heroine? A princess? A bride that died due to yet unknown reasons? Or a young girl from a noble family? We received answers to some of our many questions. However, the discovered facts only generated new questions and puzzles. Most certainly, we will be anxiously waiting for further research results, but there is no guarantee that the mystery of the Urdzhar princess will be unraveled completely. The quest for unknown once again pushes us out into the road. This time we're heading to Taraz. Why? The way to the city is long, about 500 kilometers from Almaty, although rather simple and clear. The question is how to find the place sacral, historical, surprising and mystical at the same time. Its name is Akyrtas, and we have no idea how to get there. They say it is not so easy, and it makes sense to ask about to those who know their way around in off-road environment.
Здравствуйте.
Hello. Hello, how was your trip? All right, thanks. It's so warm here. Welcome to the south, warm and sunny. So what's the plan? How are we going to get there? How difficult is the road? More or less easy. We will not torture you with complicated turns and passes. The guys who kindly agreed to accompany us to Akyrtas are members of the local off-road club. Good trucks with big wheels, and they do leave the impression of having driven over every rock in the vicinity.
Есть интересные места у нас.
There are many interesting places in Jambel region, and not far away. Many tourists come here, even foreigners, to see for themselves and to take pictures. Once we met some Belgian guys at the site. It was a surprise. Just imagine how far they went to come here, just because they wanted to see and compare the images with the ones they saw in other places. It appears that similar rock paintings exist in other countries, so they study them, take to research institutes, compare reras. The same rock drawings or petroglyphs are the ultimate goal of our today's endeavor, with Akyrtas as our final destination. By the way, the place is really popular and famous among amateur explorers and likewise professional researchers. Notwithstanding the fact that there are scientific historical facts of its emergence, the locals continue referring to the ancient settlement with a mystical note, almost whispering. Let alone the Black Sabbath sessions taking place there presently, and this is not an allegation, but a fact. A troubled spot, that's for sure.
История.
There are multiple legends about this place. Some of them are really old and have been passed from generation to generation. Unfortunately, a lot of information was lost. Here the excavations are underway all the time. They find surprising artifacts and date them. I think it is all true and there is no mysticism to it. Mount up, all aboard, off we go. Let's move it. Right, let's do it, guys. Our first stop is at the nice arch on the way out of the town, which, having been executed in accordance with the best ancient Asian traditions, serves a nice background to memorable group photos. Besides, this is where we will pick up another participant of our one-day expedition. The company of travelers, as well as a trip to such a place, becomes even more interesting if it has its own paganel. In our case, this Jules Verne's character's name is Tayyip Mukhtarov, who will be our guide / local historian / ethnographer. Our city Taraz is all about ancient and old. Wherever you look, there is something of interest. Do you see the fortress over there? There are about 16 or 18 of them around the city. People were always attracted to this area. It was one of the waypoints of the Great Silk Way and served as an ancient traffic intersection. This is the only place through which you can reach the Kyrgyz Ridge or say the Talas Ridge. After passing this gorge, we will come to the place where the old caravan track passed. Depending on their destination after this place, the caravans would follow different valleys and gorges. Why historically it was a difficult route? Maybe because of the winds. Perhaps this is where caravans hid from bad weather and some of them would go to the city. In a straight line, it is only 10 kilometers away. If you looked at it from above, you would see the relief. There is an opinion that Turkic hieroglyphs originated from these ones and later seeped into ancient writing. Nobody can say for sure what our ancestors really meant by these symbols. Maybe they just enjoyed drawing. Maybe there is some meaning to them. Let me show you something. There is a camel and some kind of scheme. Not very characteristic of such drawings. Here you can see a camel and a diagram or a chart. It can be the drawing of local roads, a map of some kind. Here is a bull, obviously a bull. Here are the horns, and here is a deer. Do you recognize the antlers? Wow, this is really cool. Whether a strange twist of nature or just bad luck with the weather, but as we approach the ancient settlement, the skies got dark with heavy clouds and then opened themselves over the ridges, almost preventing us from accessing the mysterious Akyrtas. In the next issue, another mystery is why they didn't finish the construction and abandoned this fortress. If you analyze the information in the sources, no major battles took place here. With all the excavations, the archaeologists still said that they could not find any cultural layer here. It is absolutely absent. With so many versions of and guesses about the origin and the purpose of Akyrtas, we decided to bust or confirm at least some of them.